National Defense Authorization Act by a vote of 77 to 20, authorizing $925 billion for defense initiatives. Key provisions include reforms to Pentagon budgeting, enhancing military readiness, and expanding free credit monitoring for service members, including reservists and National Guard members. The NDAA also includes provisions for the ICBM program and authorizes funding for military pay, construction projects, weapons developments, and geostrategic policy initiatives. This comes as U.S. President Donald Trump earlier said that the defense spending in 2026 to touch $1 trillion while addressing to the defense personnel. Additionally, it extends the U.S. assistance to Ukraine initiative through 2028, with funding increased to $500 million. Now for this discussion, we go back to Ross Feingold. He's a political analyst, joins us live from Taipei. Thank you very much, Ross, for staying with us. Now, with the Senate passing this NDAA for 2026, how do you assess the balance between defense spending and domestic priorities?
President Trump has consistently been a supporter of increases in defense spending, as have Republicans in the Senate and the House. So it's not a surprise that this is passed with support from the White House. And it's a lot of money. And President Trump has never taken the position that he wanted to reduce defense spending. He's always taken the opposite position. He likes to say peace through strength. That doesn't mean he's in favor of U.S. military interventions around the world. And he's been very clear in his opposition to that, notwithstanding that he joined with Israel to bomb Iran's nuclear facilities earlier this year. But generally speaking, Trump likes to say peace through strength and is a supporter of greater defense budgets, and this is consistent with that. And if that means that other types of social spending are not going to get as much money, I think the White House and Republicans in Congress are comfortable with that trade-off.
And do you think the fact that they've already mentioned support for Ukraine until 2028, given this growing funding for Ukraine, how might this influence U.S. foreign policy and its relationships with both Russia and Ukraine's allies in Europe?
President Trump's been very consistent on this issue. No matter what Congress says, he's not in favor of giving anything away to Ukraine, and he's made it very clear that if Europe wants to buy weapons from the United States and transfer those weapons to Ukraine, he's okay with that. So even if Congress includes funding for Ukraine, I think we'll see some pushback from the Trump administration as far as when it actually comes time to spend that money. And one thing the Trump administration has been very clear about since it took office in January is, notwithstanding if Congress appropriates money for something, if the White House doesn't want to spend that money, they're not going to, and they basically challenge Congress or anyone else to take action against the administration and try and force them into the spending. But the courts have generally agreed with the White House on this. So if Trump doesn't want to spend any money on Ukraine, he's not going to, no matter what is provided for in legislation. And if I may assume, I'll just quickly add that this bill also provides a lot of funding for initiatives in the Asia-Pacific region, which I think, again, has a lot of support from the White House, Congress, as well as from countries in the region, whether that's Japan, South Korea, Australia, Taiwan. China, of course, will be unhappy, but the bill also reflects a U.S. commitment to this part of the world.
Thank you very much, Ross, for joining us and sharing that insight. Now we will move on to Europe. NATO will launch its annual nuclear exercise Steadfast Noon next week, as tensions with Russia have risen after a series of air incursions by Moscow, which Russia denies. As per reports, the exercise does not involve any real nuclear weapons and will involve around 70 aircrafts and 2,000 personnel from 13 member states. NATO's Secretary General Mark Rutte has said that the exercise helps ensure NATO's nuclear deterrent remains credible, safe and secure, as well as effective, adding it sends a clear signal to any potential adversary that the alliance can protect and defend all its members against any threat.